Have you felt a change in gaming in the last couple of years? Has gaming truly changed? Did we lose the spark that made it special? And are our best years behind us? Yo, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back to this new gaming episode of Gaming Talks with, I can't even speak. Gaming Talks with Giammi. And today I want to talk about something really special, something that's truly, close to my heart, which is gaming. I love gaming. I've been playing it since I was 7. My first ever games were Uncharted, Drake Fortunes, Ratchet & Clank, Booty Quest, and Resistance Fall of Humankind. I know, very weird games for someone that younger, but luckily, my parents were never very strict with games, and that's why made me love them so much, because I played so many different games. Throughout my years. I played PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. I did play some PlayStation 2 as well, very, very early on, but nothing major. PlayStation 3 is where my true gaming era, my gaming alter ego came out, I want to say. And I've seen a lot of videos recently, a lot of TikToks talking about the exact same thing. Is gaming dead? And a lot of people are agreeing with the statement. And what I want to talk about this video is the reasons why I don't think personally gaming has changed, but also the reason why a lot of people think gaming has changed. And how can we change? How can you change that? How can you still find the passion? How can you still find the sparks within gaming? So let's start straight away. I'm very excited about this one. So the number one question everyone asked in every video was, when did gaming change for you? And I think this is a very individual question where everyone will have different answers. Some people might say it changed in 2017. Some people might say 2018. So I do encourage everyone to kind of have a self-reflection and ask themselves, when did you feel gaming changed? When was? Because for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, gaming changed in 2020. 2020 was a big year, the pandemic, everyone was at home, gaming was bigger than ever. We saw a massive growth, new Twitch streamers, new YouTube streamers, new games popping up like Warzone, Battle Royale was massive. So we saw this massive shift in gaming. And before we talk about why 2020 was so important, I want to talk about what was gaming like before 2020, at least in my personal opinion. For me, gaming was all about campaigns, was all about story modes, was all about missions. Even Call of Duty, when Call of Duty came out before 2020, I was excited about playing the campaign. I never really cared too much about the multiplayer. Yes, I had friends who play multiplayer. Yes, I have amazing memories like Black Ops 3 multiplayer that I played with my friends. I played even alone, and I loved it. But for me, Black Ops, or in general Call of Duty, was always and only about the campaign. And I only started playing online during Black Ops 3, and this is gonna sound as a shock, but when I was at home, very younger, when I had PlayStation 3 and even a bit forward through PlayStation 4, I never played online. It was something that my mom didn't give me the Wi-Fi pass, so she was very strict in terms of the Wi-Fi. She didn't want me to waste too much time online. She was okay with me playing video games, but she didn't want me to start playing online. And I understood that, at the time I didn't really complain. I was happy with the games I had. I remember because we moved them to the UK when I was very young, and I didn't have any friends, so gaming was my only way of socialize, or even the only way for me to spend time on my own. And I had only 4 games. I remember I had Crysis 2 for the PlayStation 3, I had Ghost Recon Future Soldiers, obviously the Uncharted games, and I think those were the games I kept playing all over again. And I think the fact that I didn't play online from a very young age, the fact that I didn't have that many friends, and the fact that I didn't speak the language, and so I was forced to play, I was not forced, but I'd only played the same games that made me fall in love with campaign and story mode more than online multiplayers. Then on PlayStation 4, I started playing online, Rainbow Six, Black Ops 3, and then for me the turning point when I started playing with my friends. When I finally started stop playing alone and playing with my friends, I discovered a new side of gaming. I started sharing memories, I started having fun, making jokes. It was the best time ever. And for me the best moment was no Black Ops 3, was no Modern Warfare Warzone, it was Ghost Recon, because even when playing with my friends, we were playing, well, I say friends with an S, I meant friend, my best friend, Ollie Berger, I'm sure you've seen it in the channel, but yeah, that was only, we played story modes together, co-op, we played Titanfall, which obviously is multiplayer, but we played Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, Wildlands, we always tried to, Borderlands 3, we always tried to play games who had a story. But then something changed there, something shifted, and that was in 2020. The pandemic happened. Me and my friend, Ollie Berger, we always played games online. We were playing, I think, Rainbow a lot recently, but it wasn't about the rank, it wasn't about the competitiveness. It was about having fun. We would do the most random stuff. We would just have fun. We were barely into rank. We would just play on rank sometimes and just have fun. We didn't care about competitiveness. But then in 2020, something shifted. Warzone came out. And me and my friend, we tried it. We even brought a third friend, Tank, which again, you've probably seen on the channel. And we became a trio. We became the people always playing games. And I think the shift that happened in 2020 was everyone went from caring about the game, caring about having fun, to everyone thinking about competitiveness. Everyone wanted to be the best. Everyone wanted to be better than the other. And I think especially in Call of Duty, it grew a new side of players, a new side of competitive players that only cared about being the best, only cared about the best loadouts, only cared about the best possible controller settings or keyboard settings. And I think the big shift, the change for me and that I saw was money. People now saw gaming as a way to make money. They saw the big streamers pop off. I mean, I was part of it. I literally saw channels blow up out of nowhere. Channels like Valkyrie, channels like Swag, channels like Team the Tamman, channels I never learned, or even Nick Merckx, some channels I never heard about before, all of a sudden blow up because of games. And then when something blows up, eventually, they get better deals, better money. And a lot of people started seeing that side of gaming, the side of earning money through gaming, something that we didn't see a lot before, because before, to be a successful YouTuber, you have to be like someone like PewDiePie to have millions and millions of subscribers. So like, for the first time, we saw normal streamers pop off just because they were good at the game, not because they were funny or because they were extremely entertaining. Some streamers were popping up just because they were good. So that changed the perspective everyone had. For me, it became, even for me, I started thinking about Call of Duty in a different way. I started playing more online competitive games. I think I played more competitive games in the last 3 years than I did in the past 10 years before that. Competitive esports and streamers became a thing, and that changed the theme, that changed the way people looked at gaming changed, and I don't think for the better, because now whenever people think about gaming, whenever people think about streaming, the one thing that comes to mind is not about having fun, but it's about making money, which is not a bad thing, because it's amazing that you can make money through gaming. But I think a lot of people now are completely, you should be having fun foremost, and then making money. If you're only doing it because you want to make money, you're not gonna love it. And I think that's why a lot of people started shifting, because I have friends who all of a sudden started streaming, every day, playing their games, and they started thinking more about the streams than more about the game. And that, I think, changed, and they started hating the game and stopped eventually playing and streaming. So I think that's the big change, in my opinion, that happened in 2020. And I think, personally, gaming should be about having fun rather than being perfect at them. I am the biggest example. I'm the most flawed gamer I think there is. I'm average or above average in most games. I'm not perfect, but I have fun. And when I start losing and losing a lot, because I'm with my best friends and we play together, I don't mind losing. I do get a bit annoyed, because I'm naturally a competitive person. I love platinum games, I love the 100%, but I don't care about too much because I'm having fun, and that's what matters. My last 3 games I played were with my friends as well, because we're trying to switch from too much competitive gaming. My last 3 games I played were Power Wash Simulator, amazing, so fun, highly recommend it, Unpacking, and What Remains of Ethan Finch. And it's what Island Isolation on stream, if you guys are seeing it. And I had so much fun because I felt relaxed and hooked on the story. Yes, there's competitiveness in wanting to do well in games, but I think the priority should always to have fun and not anything else. Oh my god, I got a hiccup. No way, please. Because at the end of the day, too much of anything is bad. If I play 24/7 the same game of the same genre, eventually I'm gonna grow sick of it. And will lead to me to be unhappy with the game and with the gaming state. And it's normal, because if for example, I'm Italian. If I eat pizza every single day, I'll probably end up resenting pizza, and be like, I don't like this. At the beginning it would be good, eating pizza every day. Fuck, that's a dream. But then eventually, after a month, 2 months, 3 months of just eating pizza, I will get bored. I will not be happy with it anymore. And that's the same thing. If you play competitive shooters every day, for every week, for every month, for every year, eventually you will start to dislike it. And I think that's why Warzone is so much under scrutiny, because you play it so much that even the smallest detail starts to make the difference, which wasn't a thing earlier. Before, gaming was, even if it had bugs, even if the multiplayer, you know, was ridiculous, it didn't care. You played it for fun. You played it here and there with your friends. Then another point I think that is important is that we are getting older. You know, in 2020, that was 4 years ago. If you were 16, now you're 20. If you were 18, now you're 22. If you were 14, now you're 18. So like, we are changing, and we are changing our goals and our perspectives and our aspirations. So we can't give the same attention to games. You know, and I've seen it with myself. You know, when I was 16, I mean, not at 16, but when I was like 17 and I finished my exams, all I could think about was playing games. My first year of university, all I can think about is playing games, because I loved it, and I had the time to give to them. But now I don't think I feel, if I play too much, I do feel bad, because I should be doing other things, you know, things like working, things like social life, keeping up with families and friends. So like, you know, I do feel like there's now more responsibility on my plate, and I can't give the same amount of attention that I would have given it when I was 16, 12, 14. So yeah, that's another big, you know, perspective. It's the game, it hasn't changed. We have changed overall, you know. It's not like the game has changed. We became different. It's normal. Every time it's changed. You know, gaming, it was different a few years ago than it is today. You know, but the one thing which I think is the elephant in the room, and I think it should be addressed, is it's just not about us. But it also is about the gaming studios, and that I think has changed for the worst. And I'll give you an example. When Naughty Dog, you know, one of my favorite ever gaming studios, was created, there were a bunch of employees. There was no hierarchy, no boss. Everyone was there to create games. Everyone communicated with each other. There was no, you know, upper level, lower level, boss, CEO, VP. Everyone was there to work, and they created games, you know, like The Last of Us, like Uncharted. And the more they grow, the more the gaming industry grow, the more those people had to employ more and more people, and eventually created hierarchies, created profits, created board directors, created expectations from financial institutions. And I think now the gaming studios have a different priority, which is profitability, continuous revenue streams, and they started seeing gamers as customers rather than players. And, you know, studios are now ruled by, you know, corporate executives who, in my opinion, I mean, I think everyone will agree with this, is they only want to maximize shareholder profit and shareholder revenue and make the company profitable. And honestly, I think this executives, this corporate structures leads to short deadline, cramming, bad games that need more time to develop it, but they want them out straight away, copying what works and producing safe games. Some games are just the same. Look at Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed. It's just the same thing all over again. There's no innovation. There's nothing new to it. And unlike Naughty Dog, who, like I said, that's why I love Naughty Dog. Like they take risks. They don't care if the game does well or bad. Sure, that's an important metric. But they put the story and the theme over everything else. And if you always copy what works to make safe games with the same formula just to keep some profit, eventually you're gonna fail. And we've seen a lot of studios who are now going under because they're not making any money because they're not taking risk. Innovation is needed, and most executives, most people in charge of these gaming companies are scared of it. And a company who I think, like I said, is brilliant is PlayStation, with studios like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica, who are not afraid to change the way things are done. Santa Monica changed the way God of War was made. Naughty Dog changed the way The Last of Us was made. And I think that's a brilliant thing to do. I really respect that. And I think that's a really important thing, again, that I think we should see, I hope to see more. But yeah, gaming studios have definitely changed for the worse, and I think that has affected the way we see games, because it's not anymore about the game, it's about the user and how much time they spend on the game, how much money they spend on the game. Microtransactions is another big thing which I want to talk about now. which a lot of people will say is a thing that ruin gaming. I'm more in the middle with microtransaction personally. I don't see it as a big problem as long as the game doesn't depend on it. You know, if it's just for cosmetics or weapon skins, I'm happy with that. You know, if you have the money and you like, I love personalization. For me, it's such an important thing in a game. And sometimes I do splurge, you know, £5-6 to buy skins and to buy costumes because I think they're really good. I love seeing a character that I can reflect into the game. And as long as, you know, you're not buying, you know, new weapons that you can't find anything anyone else, that's fine. For example, something that was really broken, and I think that kind of changed the way Black Ops 3 worked, was when they introduced the black market, and there was those weapons that you could only find in the black market, like the MX Grand, and the revolver, so like the Marshall, I think, sorry, it was called. So I think that kind of changed the dynamic to a pay to win scheme, and I don't think that's right. I think the game should be, you know, like Helldivers, for example. Helldivers is literally like a perfect representation. It's a new game, you know, that was very different to what a lot of people were expecting, and you know, no microtransaction. You pay 35 quid, you get the game, and you play for hours. And I think that's perfect. There is some skins that you can buy, but no weapon upgrades, nothing that can make the game easier for you. And I think that's fine. You know, microtransaction at the end is fine. DLCs you pay for, that's a different story. I don't think you should be paying for DLC if you already paid the game. Again, Santa Monica, amazing for doing that. They made Valhalla free for all PlayStation users who had God of War Ragnarok, and that thing should be the way gaming is done. But yeah, so overall, like, you know, to this day, for me, gaming is the most important thing I ever, something that I love, and I think I love games even more, and my love for gaming has only gone stronger as I play new games and old games that I've never played. I think I'm very thankful that, you know, on stream I'm able to play so many different games. You know, in isolation I would have never played on my own, but because someone suggested in the chat, I played it and I loved it, and I think I'm going for the platinum. I only need like 5 more trophies. So my advice is, if you're a console player, just buy the Game Pass if you can afford it. Obviously, like if you're in a situation where you can afford to buy the Game Pass, or an Xbox user so you can afford to buy the, I would say highly do it and just try new games. If you're someone who only play FPSs, only plays competitive shooters, take a moment and once a week or twice a week just play a story game. Especially if you never played the story games, my god, there is so much you can play. I would suggest play on PlayStation because that's the PlayStation has better story games, but you know, that's a whole different argument, and different point. But yeah, play with your friends also different games. You know, me and my best mate, you know, Oli Burger, like I said, we tend to play different games. Like when we don't play the finals, or we don't play Valorant, or you know, Call of Duty, we do play different games like Power Wash. We want to play Operation Tango soon, which was recommended to me. Lethal Company, another great game. Like there's so many different co-op games that you can play just to have fun, just to, you know, switch off that will show you that gaming is not dead. It's quite the contrary, it's evolving. Because like I said, it's different every time. Like, you know, it's normal. The OG gamers were those who had the highest scores in the arcades, like probably like 30-40 years ago. Then console gamers, it was all about, you know, in PlayStation 2, it was all about speed running. It was all about being the best in certain levels, the S ranking, you know, it was all about that. Then the consoles game, you know, evolved even more to, you know, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and it was all about competing in online games with millions. You know, it was about, you know, who was the best player in the world in a certain game, who was really good. And I think it's normal, like I said, to appreciate games for what they are. You know, like I said, we are changing. Sadly, we are growing up, but it's normal. As we get older, you know, we get to appreciate things more, and the way we played it in the past, and appreciate every moment. So I think, you know, yeah, I'm trying to like how to put it into words, but I don't think gaming has changed for the worse. I don't think gaming is boring. I don't think gaming is dying. I think our perspective has changed for a lot of people in 2020, and then for the past 4 years we've seen gaming in a different light. We've seen gaming as money, not as opportunity to have fun, not as entertainment. And I think we should take a step back from online shooting, from online games, and focus more on making memories on games, on playing games with friends, on playing games to have fun. But yeah, So this is a bit of a rant, I want to say, and I hope I put everything in the right words. I think this is all uncut. I did this on the first try. I wrote down a few notes on my phone, but like, yeah, to summarize, ask yourself, when do you think gaming has changed? For me personally, it was 2020, because there was a shift from just games to online competitive and streaming and money. So I think gaming got a bad light on it because people thought you can just make money on it, and people started playing the same game for hours. And if you look at competitive gamers, I'm sorry, one last bracket, they're clearly not enjoying it that much. I see streamers who play the same game 8 hours a day. They're just not happy. They have no emotions. Yeah, they get happy when they win, but eventually that runs out. Like, I see people who play the finals, like the top players in the finals. Oh my god, they're dry. And this is not an excuse, or this is not a diss. I'm just saying that because if you play 8 hours the same thing, eventually you're gonna run out of things to say. I'd rather stream for 3 hours a game like Alien or variety games where you can play stories and you can interact with the audiences than play 8 hours the same game where you can't really commute for more than that. So I think that's that's a big thing that I've seen in competitive gaming. The third thing was the gaming industry has changed. It's more money focused, sadly. We've seen it with a lot of stakeholders, with a lot, like Activision, with always thinking about how to make more money. Vanguard was a shit game, however it was the highest selling game. So in Call of Duty, Vanguard was a success, even though from a gaming perspective it wasn't. And lastly, we have changed. This is my rant. This is why my 2 cents. I hope if you have reached this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you want, and let me know your opinion on this. Like I said, gaming is my favorite thing in the world, and it's sad to see some people thinking it's dying. But yeah, overall, thank you so much. Love you all. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Love you. Bye.